Hey Browns fans! Whether you're a die-hard Browns fan or just trying to keep up with the ups and downs, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any breaking news. Today, we're diving into a hot topic. Who's really to blame for the Browns' struggles this season? From ownership and coaching to quarterback decisions, there's a lot to analyze, so let's dive in. So let's be real, at 27, the Cleveland Browns are nowhere near where fans, players, or coaches expected to be this season. The bye week provided a chance for some much-needed soul-searching, but it also fueled heated debates within the fan base about who's to blame for this disappointing season. The Browns currently sit in last place in the AFC North, trailing the division leaders, the Steelers and Ravens, who both have 7 wins, and even the Bengals. It's been a tough pill to swallow for a team with high hopes heading into the season. And when times get tough, fingers start pointing. Before his season-ending Achilles injury, Deshaun Watson bore much of the blame. Fans were frustrated with his inconsistent performances, especially given the massive investment made to bring him in. Critics pointed to his inability to consistently spark an offense that has struggled despite a highly respected offensive line that, paradoxically, leads the league in penalties and sacks allowed. There was also speculation that management may be meddling in coaching decisions, preventing other quarterbacks from getting a real chance. Enter Jameis Winston. After Watson's injury, Winston came on strong, leading the Browns to a dramatic 2,924-game win over the Baltimore Ravens, ending a streak of 20-point games and briefly rekindling hope. But that hope quickly turned to disappointment when Winston followed up with a 3-interception performance in a 2,710-game loss to the Chargers. The inconsistency has been maddening, and fans want answers. ESPN Cleveland conducted a social media poll asking, who is to blame for the Browns' poor season? The results? A clear indication of where the frustration lies. A whopping 45.2% of fans pointed the finger at owner Jimmy Haslam, citing years of what they see as organizational mismanagement. General Manager Andrew Berry wasn't far behind, with 31.9% of the vote. Coach Kevin Stefanski surprisingly received just 7.5%, while Chief Strategy Officer Paul DePodesta took 15.4%. One fan commented, organizational failure, no point dividing blame, while another didn't hold back, calling Haslam the worst owner in professional sports. Never learns from past mistakes, just keeps repeating them. Clearly, many fans believe the Browns' issues run deeper than just what happens on the field every Sunday. So, where do we go from here? The Browns' next game against the New Orleans Saints is a crucial one. It's a chance to start fresh and, hopefully, show some signs of life. Winston will face a Saints defense that knows him well. After all, he spent 3 seasons in New Orleans. This could be a homecoming game to remember, or it could end in more frustration. Either way, fans will be watching closely. But it's not just about Winston. Head coach Kevin Stefanski has been under the microscope as well, particularly with the offensive struggles and questions about whether the team should give second-year QB Dorian Thompson-Robinson more opportunities. While there's been talk of potentially incorporating a package of plays tailored to DTR's dual-threat capabilities, nothing is set in stone. Stefanski hinted that any decision would depend on what the team sees from opposing defenses. It's a situation worth keeping an eye on. On the defensive side, there are concerns too. Linebacker Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah's neck injury is a big blow, and there's no guarantee he'll be back this season. Anytime you're dealing with injuries with the neck, you're always making sure that he's getting every possible amount of care, Stefanski said. For now, all we can do is hope for a full recovery for JOK. Interceptions, or the lack thereof, have also plagued the defense. The Browns have just 1 interception this season, putting them dead last in the league. Stefanski emphasized that while creating turnovers is a point of emphasis, it has to come within the scheme. Players can't force plays or abandon assignments, or they risk making things worse. Veteran safety Rodney McLeod had some insightful comments about the pressure players face. Speaking on 92.3 The Fan, he said, "There's no fun when you step on that field, between those white lines. Nobody cares. They just want to see results on Sunday." He's right. Fans demand performance, and while players are human beings with real pressures and challenges, the job comes with sky-high expectations. It's a tough reality, but one that every player understands when they lace up their cleats. Historically, when an NFL team falls apart, the first casualties are usually the coaching staff, but this time, the situation could be more complicated. We're talking about the possible departure of high-level front office personnel. The list of possible departures may be surprising, and it may even start with someone you wouldn't expect, Chief Strategy Officer Paul DePodesta. For some context, the Browns were on a roll not long ago. Last season, they won 11 games and were a serious playoff contender. They had a top-notch coach in Kevin Stefanski, who had won 2 NFL Coach of the Year awards in 5 seasons, and a defense led by award-winning talent. Yet here we are, a year later, facing one of the worst records in the league. The big question is, What happened? The short answer, as everyone knows, is Deshaun Watson. The Browns paid a whopping $230 million to sign him, expecting to see the Pro Bowl version of Watson. Instead, we saw an inconsistent, injury-plagued quarterback leading a stagnant offense. Before his Achilles injury, Watson was struggling to find his rhythm, and the blame extended beyond him. Fans are frustrated with the outcome of this trade, and rightfully so. But Watson's struggles raise an even bigger question. Who signed off on this trade? Every major figure who backed this move is now responsible for what has happened since. And that's where DePodesta comes in. He's been with the Browns since 2016, hired as an analytics guru. His reputation comes from revolutionizing the way teams approach data, as depicted in the movie Moneyball. But as the Browns' analytical genius, DePodesta's influence on big decisions like the Watson trade can't be ignored. Now, let's talk analytics. Cleveland has been heavily reliant on data-driven decisions since DePodesta arrived. Whether it's going for fourth down or moving up in the draft, these changes have been part of the organization's commitment to analytics. This season, the Browns have attempted the most fourth downs in the NFL, converting 13 of 21 attempts. But here's the thing. Almost every other team in the top 10 in fourth down attempts is also struggling. Analytics are great when they work, but when they don't, they leave fans and analysts questioning everything. Another reason DePodesta's tenure has come under scrutiny is his unconventional approach. He works remotely from San Diego, far from Berea's Cleveland headquarters. No other NFL team has spent this much money on players in this span without a division title or consistent playoff run to show for it. While DePodesta provides data to justify the moves, the bottom line is simple. The Browns aren't winning. Of course, DePodesta isn't the only one under fire. General Manager Andrew Berry's decisions are also under fire. Berry has botched several high-profile free agent signings and draft picks. Players like DT Dalvin Tomlinson and S1 Thornhill were supposed to fill critical holes, but haven't lived up to expectations. Wide receivers Jerry Jeudy and Elijah Moore have failed to become the game-changing threats they were expected to be. And then there's the draft. Since 2020, only a fraction of Berry's 38 draft picks have been consistent starters. That level of failure is unsustainable. But what about head coach Kevin Stefanski? Despite his accolades, there's no denying that the Browns' offensive struggles fall in part on his shoulders. He was given a $230 million quarterback and an offensive unit that was talented on paper, but that didn't translate on the field. While it's easy to blame Stefanski, the organization needs to take a deeper look. Is he to blame for Watson's struggles, or has his analytics-driven approach given him a flawed roster? Fans, I want to hear from you. Does Paul DePodesta deserve to go? Is Berry more to blame? Should Stefanski get another chance? Or is it time to clean house completely? The Browns front office has some tough decisions to make. If they don't, the fan base won't be silent forever. One thing is clear. Change is coming. Maybe it'll start with DePodesta. Maybe it'll be Berry. Or maybe it'll even be Stefanski. But heads will roll. This franchise should be a contender. But instead, they're facing another painful rebuild. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Who do you think needs to go to get this team back on track? And don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications to stay up to date with all the Browns news. Go Browns!